in the office this week, I've had so many questions about fasting. As you know, that's what we've been doing. And the question that I'm getting asked is not should I fast, but what is the difference between fasting for extended periods or fasting for shorter periods? In particular, is it okay or is it beneficial, or which does better? Should I do multiple shorter fasts or an extended fast? And that's what we're going to be spending some time tonight talking about, the difference. Well, not necessarily the difference, but which is better, the shorter or extended fast. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, we've been educating, empowering, and encouraging you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to put their diabetes in remission, get off of diabetes medications, improve their metabolic health, and in fact, who want to reverse their diabetes. That's what we've been doing. As you know, I'm using this amazing tool called fasting to put my body and to teach you how to use fasting as a way of improving health and reversing diabetes. And I am in a 72-hour is where we are heading here in just a few minutes. And we're probably going to extend that a little bit more this week as well as we did last week and the weeks before. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to say hello and welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And to say hello to the neighborhood. If you're new as well and you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat, in the comments, because we'd love to say hello and to see how you're doing. As you know, we do here on the channel, I'm going to be looking at my blood sugars, and we're going to be looking at our glucose meters, which you'll see there on the screen. Looking at my reports, and the reports, this one in particular is my Dexcom that you're seeing there. And then, of course, I have my Keto Mojo and my contour meter off to the side that we're going to be looking at here in just a few minutes, y'all. All right. And I do see one of our team members or our community members, Jennifer. Hey, how are you doing, Jennifer? She's saying hello, howdy, all. Glad that you're there. Whatever platform you are joining us from, we are glad that you are here. We are now streaming to Instagram. We're streaming to TikTok. Well, not TikTok. Instagram, Facebook, of course, here on YouTube, Twitch, X, LinkedIn, and so on and so on and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead and let's do a check-in, as I normally do. I want to talk a little bit about how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. That's the check-in that we typically do. So let's hop over and let's take a look at those, right? So let's back up. So physically, and why do I want to talk about this? Because these are the questions that people have as you are preparing to fast, as you're actually in the process of trying to fast, and you begin to feel symptoms. So physically, how am I feeling? Right now, I am feeling energized. I am a little tired because I have been up late. If you saw last night, we did a replay on one of our shows. There's some things going on at church that I'm involved with, and so came home last evening and stayed up late, got up this morning. And so anyway, so I've been kind of running over the last several days coming out of the weekend, and so I'm feeling a little bit more tired than I have in the past, but I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, or sweaty. I'm not feeling any palpitations. Those are typical symptoms that you would feel, particularly as you get into the process of converting from burning sugar or glycogen to burning fat, right? That's that transition period. I'm not feeling any of those symptoms right now. We'll take a look at my blood sugars and you'll see what those have been over the last several days. And in fact, I am now a little over 70 hours, right? Maybe 70 and a half hours into my fast. Mentally, I'm feeling clear. Because I'm a little tired, I think I'm not saying I'm a little sluggish, but I can probably tell that I need to probably get to sleep, Okay, let me say it that way. And then, of course, emotionally feeling excited for several things that are going on here in town. And also this weekend, this week I get to hang out with my son. He's out of school. And so we've been going back and forth together in the car. So that's been amazing. So physically, mentally, and then, of course, emotionally feeling pretty good. Yeah. All right. So let's back up and let's take a look at my meters. And I want to take a look at 2 meters, or 2 my continuous glucose monitors, I guess. Let me say it that way. And let's go ahead and pull that up here in just a second as I get some of these other apps that were on my phone closed, so you don't see all of my my crazy desktop. Let's take a look at this one. And actually, I need to do something here really quickly because I was on screen this evening. I was producing a show, and I actually turned off the alerts in both the apps, the Dexcom and the Libre. So I've got to get those back in so that we can see, because you know the apps tend to be finicky if you turn those off. So let's see. Okay, here we are. So Dexcom, get that one turned back on, and we'll see what those numbers are here in just a sec. All right. Okay, and so this is what it looks like right now as it's trying to get the number. But you'll see down there at the bottom what my blood sugars have been kind of running for most of the day. That red graph is below 70. So we'll see that signal come up in just a minute. Let's get rid of this one. And okay, so my Libre, my Dexcom right now is saying blood sugar of 65, and the Libre should come up here in just a little bit. May take a little longer. While that's coming up, let's go ahead and let's hop over and actually take a look at what the blood sugars are on the actual monitors by a finger stick. And so I have a contour meter, and then I have a keto mojo meter. So let's go ahead and get a strip for the contour. We'll get that in there. And then I have 2 strips for the keto mojo. One is the ketone strip, and then the other one is for the blood sugar. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the blood sugar, or blood glucose as we say. All right. And then, of course, here is the Lancet. And let's go ahead and make sure we get a good drop. Not last night, but the night before, I didn't get a good drop, and so I had to, and of course, I didn't do that again. Perhaps that's one of the benefits of using a Lansing device. Okay, let's see. I think that one got, okay. So not a big drop, but I think enough of a drop to at least start this guy. Okay, and while that's going, let's see if I can get another drop out of that same stick, perhaps. And then I think, guys, I'm gonna have to, yeah, so I can get another one, but I think I'm gonna have to do a second poke to get another drop for that keto mojo. All right, so 56 and 58 are what those are saying. Okay, and I did get another drop, so let's go ahead and change this one out for a keto strip. And then once that comes up, we'll go ahead and get the ketone started. All right, and of course, like I do, I'm gonna not show you what that number is right now. And so let's hop over and let's talk a little bit about fasting. So as you know, fasting is the deliberate and the personal decision to abstain from food, right? That is a choice. So we're not talking about any forced starvation. This is someone deciding that they are going to fast, and you're abstaining from food. People do lots of different fasts. Here specifically, we're talking about fasting or abstaining from calorie-containing foods. So nothing that has calories. You are allowed to drink fluids that don't have calories, so like water, unsweetened tea, coffee. We've actually said that you can have coffee, black coffee. If you're drinking artificial sweeteners in your juices, or not juices, but your water and so forth, those are allowed because they don't have any calories in them. Okay, that's what you can use, and so we're deliberately doing that, abstaining from eating any calorie-containing substances. The reason for that is that we are working on metabolism, and so let's pop up over here. So we want to talk tonight about the short versus long fasts, right? So short fast versus long fast. That's what we're talking about, and that's what we're going to be looking at here in just a minute. And do you like that graphic? Yeah. So the fighters. All right. And then, of course, short versus extended, which is better, and we'll kind of come and help us answer that question here in just a little while. So when we talk about fast, we're talking about fast definitions. So multiple shorter fasts, and when we're talking about fast, we're talking about fasts that go up to 24 hours, right? So we're not going to be talking about fasts that are, in terms of shorter fasts. If you're talking about an extended fast, we're talking about 24 hours or longer, okay? And so multiple fasts, that is fasts that are shorter than 24 hours, that people do more frequently, right? So for instance, they may do it weekly, bi-weekly. In our case, we've asked you to fast for up to 1 day. That's a 24-hour period. People are doing intermittent fasting, so 12 and 12, 16 and 8, and so forth. And then, of course, the extended fast, when we're talking about that, we're talking about fasts that are over 24 hours that we do less frequently. In my case, and if you are following us, you are probably doing those fasts actually weekly as well, right? So we've been doing at least a 72-hour fast once a week. So what are some common benefits of the fasting? And not talking about necessarily whether it's a short or long fast, but just fasting in general. What are some common benefits? Number one, insulin sensitivity improves. And that's a big one for us because as we're working to put our diabetes in remission, insulin sensitivity is very, very important for us, because if we have better insulin sensitivity, then we are able to use our insulin more effectively. We use less insulin. And remember, one of the pillars that we talked about is decreasing the insulin, either that you're taking from outside, that is exogenous insulin, or insulin that you're taking from inside, endogenous, that your body's producing, right? So better insulin sensitivity. Better insulin sensitivity leads to better weight, right? So weight loss and fat loss, because as we are fasting, whether it's shorter or long acting, we're giving our body an opportunity to burn up the carbohydrates. That's a big part of this. And as we burn carbohydrates, we are using up fat, or we're using up the carbohydrates that are in the body and they don't get stored as fat. And so we begin to see weight loss. Number three, enhanced autophagy. So autophagy is that system that the body uses to reclaim, recycle, rebuild, if you will, parts of itself. And so autophagy begins happening as we fast, and the longer we fast, of course, the extended autophagy that we have. And then, of course, reduced inflammation. That is the process as we are fasting. The body is becoming more sensitive. The body's using this autophagy. We're rebuilding, we're reclaiming. And as autophagy continues, then we get into a lot more of the immune modulating benefits of fasting. And one of the things that happens is that we have reduced inflammation. That's one of the things we talked about in terms of the disease processes that can happen, that can be improved. And then, I was going to say finally, But it is not the final thing. But one of the other things that happens is that we have improved cognition and improved mentation, right? So better thought processes. One of the reasons for is that the brain likes ketones. So when we change onto ketones, the body likes that. We are not focusing on food right now, and so the body has a chance to process in a different way. So we're not concentrating, we're not thinking about, we're not planning for food. And then, of course, as autophagy begins and continues and gets extended, then the mental capacity becomes better, right? So all of those things happens. These are benefits of fasting. But when we're talking about shorter fasts, why would a shorter fast be easier? Well, a shorter fast is easier to manage, right? So you're fasting for 24 or even up to 48 hours, right? This can be done more frequently, and you can fit those into your lifestyle. You can fit them into your schedule much easier and simpler, more simply, right, than previously, or than some of the longer fasts, because you're able to do a 12 hours. Most people can do 12 hours. Most people can do 8 hours because we're sleeping for a lot of that time. So you sleep, you wake up, hey, guess what? Your 8 hours are gone, right? So easier to manage. You get into autophagy more frequently. So you fast and you stop, autophagy goes away, you fast again, autophagy begins, right? So you can trigger autophagy, and this is beneficial for cellular repair, right? We just talked about autophagy here just a little while ago. And then reduced risks. So lower fasts are not as difficult in terms of making sure that you are maintaining good diet, a balanced diet, and you don't get into deficiencies, right? So shorter fast, reduced risk. Those are some of the benefits of doing a shorter fast. Well, what are some of the drawbacks of doing shorter fast? Well, consistency is required, because if you're doing them more frequently, people tend to not do things as consistently when they have to do it more frequently. So if you got to do something once a day, then yeah, that we can do that, and that's done. If you got to do something twice a day, do something 3 times a day, sometimes that doesn't happen, right? So if you're having to do more frequent fasts throughout the week, right? So Monday and then Wednesday and then Friday, things happen, and those things can derail you, and so consistency can become an issue. And then there's a potential for overeating. When you fast shorter periods of time, then when you come out of that fast, your appetite comes back, and you sometimes have difficulty in that shorter period because you're getting ready to go into another fast, maybe another day later. And so people tend to indulge a little bit more during shorter fasts, right? So they eat more than they should over that period of time. So that's one of the potentials with a shorter fast. And as we talk about more extended fasts, right, once again, these are talking about 24 hours or longer. So when we talk about extended, so you get deeper detoxification. So extended fasting periods tend to have better autophagy, longer autophagy, more detoxification, because you're doing it for a longer period of time. So that's one of the benefits of extended fast. You get more and a significant impact. Remember, we did a show maybe 2 or 3 shows ago, where we talked about the benefits of fasting and what you should do. Should you do a longer fast or shorter fast? Well, one of the benefits of a longer fast is that if you have significant metabolic disease, then an extended fast may be the thing for you, because you have bigger issues that you've got to deal with, and because you get better deeper detoxification, that may be a better thing for you. Okay, so that's the benefits of extended fast. Also, you get mental and spiritual benefits. So as you are doing shorter fasts, sometimes you don't get a chance to go into those deep places, those deep quiet, deep solitude, those deep thought processes. But when you're doing an extended fast, there's this longer period of time where you're able to process emotions, where you're able to process the things that may be driving you, that may have been driving you to eat, When we talk about the heat model here in just a little while. But when you do an extended fast, you get those enhanced mindfulness and self-discipline. Because during those times when you're not eating, when you're doing an extended fast, you have to now face those demons, right? Because a lot of us, we use food as a mechanism to get around different things in our lives. But if you're fasting, food is no longer one of the tools that you have. And so now you've got to develop a different way of handling those things. And so the thought process, the mindfulness, the self-discipline can be more profound. Well, what are some of the drawbacks? Well, it's a higher risk. What does that mean? It means that you have a higher potential for having low blood sugars. You have a higher potential for having deficiencies because you're having longer fasts, particularly if you've not done a good job in preparing for the fast, getting into it, right? So it's more difficult to sustain, right? I talk to people all the time who say, hey, I was going along, I was at 24 hours, I was 36 hours, I was even maybe 48 hours, and then life happens. Right? So remember, so the fast has to fit into life. So as you're doing more extended fast, your schedule changes. More stressful events happen. You become ill. You have more frustration. You have maybe more loneliness, more tiredness, more depression. And so those things can derail you. And so it can make it more difficult to sustain a longer fast. And then medical supervision may be needed. Right, so as you do shorter fasts, we tell anybody you can do a 12-hour, 16-hour, 18 hours, even 24 hours. But as you get into longer fasts, now we've got to talk about, okay, do we need to adjust medication? Do we need to work on electrolytes? Are we doing the right amount of fluids? Do we need to adjust other things that we're doing? And so you may need additional medical supervision. So the extended fasts may be a little bit more challenging. Okay? And right? So what are some things that we should think about as we are preparing for a fast? Should I do a shorter fast? Should I do a longer fast? Should I do fasting at all? And this all depends on your health status. So your health status, number one, you want to make sure that you are checking and talking with your healthcare provider, as we've said continually, right? Particularly if you're getting ready to do one of the more extended fasts, you want to take a look at your health status. So if you are not strong enough because of disease processes to do an extended fast, you may have to start with a shorter fast and work your way up. As we started out in the beginning of the year, one of the things that, if you remember, we said was we're not just jumping right into a 24-hour period. We actually worked our way up to being able to do a 24-hour fast, right? If you were at 10, we said go to 11. If you were at 11, go to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, and so forth until you're able to fast for a 24-hour period. So your health status is very important. Medications that you're on. If you're on medications, those may need to be adjusted. And so you've got to consider as you're preparing for the fast, how am I going to do this? Do I have my healthcare team with me, and what do I need to do, right? So I have people in the office, I have clients that we talk to, and they say, oh, I'm going to go home and I'm going to stop my medication. Well, no, that's really not the way to do it, because if you remember, we're trying to balance safety with the medical benefits that we get from treating diabetes with reversing. So if your blood sugars are 300-400, yes, fasting is going to improve it, but you can't just go home and just stop your medication. We've got to work to the point where our fasting is now offsetting what the medication is doing. Okay? What are your goals? Maybe you have some significant, some profound things that you've got to take care of in your metabolism. And if you have that going on, you may have to do more extended fasting because you've got to get there quickly. If you are trying to lose weight, or if you are trying to just improve your general metabolism, you may be able to do a shorter fast. So you've got to consider what are the goals, right? If you have significant weight to lose, you probably will have to do extended fasts, because the shorter fasts, while they work, they're much slower. Next, you got to consider your experience, right? This goes back to what we talked about a little while ago. So, sometimes people want to just jump into a 96-hour fast. Well, if you've never done a fast before, maybe you can get to a 96-hour fast, but the chances of having some difficulty is higher if you don't have the experience. So if you've been fasting for a while, if you've been following us here on the channel, if you've been following along with what we're doing, and you've been fasting for a 24-hour period, and you've been doing that once a week, okay, now let's go to 36 hours. Now let's go to 48 hours. Now let's do 96 hours. Now let's do 108 hours, whatever the number is. So your experience dictates that. And then your schedule is an important one. A lot of times we don't succeed with fasting, not because fasting doesn't work, but because our schedule doesn't support it. What does that mean? If your family sits down and eats at 5 o'clock and your intermittent fasting takes you away from the family time, often we will stop fasting so we can spend time with the family, which is what I would recommend, right? Arrange your fasting around times where you're not interrupting the family, or talk with the family and say, hey, this is what I'm planning to do. How do we arrange our schedule so that this works? As you know, when I started fasting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Why do you think I fast Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Because that's in the middle of the week. On the weekend, I hang out with the family and we're eating. So if I'm with them, I want to be able to enjoy the time with them. I want to be able to eat. If we go to church, if we get invited out somewhere, our functions tend to be on the weekends. So I fast in the middle of the week so I don't interrupt the schedule. And then lifestyle, this goes along with scheduling. So there are some things that you may have going on in your lifestyle. There may be some dietary things that you do. There may be right now some maybe you guys are moving. Maybe you are you're in a class. Maybe you're working on a degree. All of those things will affect how you fast, how long you fast. So make sure that you are considering that as well. And then support. What kind of support do you have? Going back to the family issue, if the family right now is not supporting this, and I'm not talking about family not supporting it as in, oh, fasting doesn't work or you shouldn't do that. I'm talking about if you don't have the support right now and you can't find the support, then maybe right now you do shorter fasts, because longer fasts take more time, they take more energy, they take more thought, right? So you may have to do some other things as you talk about fasting. Okay, so those are some things that you want to consider as you get into the fast. Let's see, I do see some folks out here, and let's hop over and let's say hello. Steve's popped in, and hey, Steve, how you doing? Steve is saying hello. Glad that you are with us. Steve said, I do a 24-hour fast almost every day. Is that bad? Right, that's what Steve is asking. Steve, I'm gonna hold on to that question because I'm gonna come back to it. Jennifer is saying, hello, Steve. Hope all is well. And Steve says, fair. How are you? Answering Jennifer. And then Jennifer says, gardening season keeps me busy. That's right. So a lot of different things will happen. And going back to this idea of the lifestyle. And so, Steve, coming back to your question about fasting for 24 hours. Let me pop that back up here. All right. So a lot of people will do a 24-hour fast. Actually, turns out to be like 23, right? Daily. And basically, they're eating one meal. And there's nothing wrong in terms of fasting, in terms of nutrition, in terms of metabolic health, in terms of diabetes. There's nothing wrong with with doing that, right? There are many times, because I try to do a 16-8. Actually, turns out to be 16-6, to be honest. And often, I am not hungry, so I end up eating one meal and starting the day over, right? So I try to eat a meal at lunch, and that's because at work, my team eats, we have our meeting, I have pharmaceutical reps that come in, and so that's during lunchtime. So I start eating at lunch, and I will try to eat up until maybe 6, 7 o'clock at night, and then I stop, and then I don't eat again until the next lunchtime, lunch in the afternoon. And so that's my plan. That's my goal. But often, sometimes, I'll eat a lunch, and it's a big lunch. And now, because I've been fasting, I'm able to tolerate not eating big multiple meals often, and so my body says, hey, you don't need to eat that. And so I may have a small snack in the evening, and then that's it. But Steve, to answer your question, no, there's nothing wrong with having a 24-hour or doing a fast, that extended fast, once a day, right? Or it's actually a shorter fast, but you get the idea. All right. So if you got other questions, drop those in the chat, because we'd love to get to those and get to answering those. And let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at what my reports are showing. As you guys know, we typically do Dexcom, Libre. And let's take a look here. Let's hop over. Let's do this one. Actually, that's not. Yeah, that's the website. All right. And as we move over there, please be sure to get over and take a look at our show from this past Monday, and we were talking about results, talking about what labs you should get, what labs you should look at, what labs you and your doctor should review, and some of the values that they should be there. Okay. So let's hop over now. Let's take a look at this report, and you see there on the screen, that is my Dexcom report, and it's saying that right now my average blood sugar over the last 2 weeks has been 93. If I go and change that to a 90-day look, that should be about 101, 104. There you go. And I'm in target 91% of the time. My estimated A1C, which is given by the glucose management indicator, is a 5.8. And if you will recall, when I did my, let's see, do I still have that up? I think I do. When I did my labs, let's see, when I did my most recent labs, my A1C was actually a 5.8. And you'll see that there, right, coming up on the screen, right? So it was a 5.8. So that was in keeping right with where the report said that my blood sugars possibly would be, and I love that. Okay, so 104, 5.8, and let's go ahead and let's take a look at daily graphs. And as I said, I'm over 70 hours. Yeah, a little over 70 hours, because I started my fast Monday morning right around 1 o'clock, right in there. So blood sugar is 127, 24 hours, right? We're in the 80s. That was Tuesday morning. Wednesday morning, in the 80s. And then we don't have today's yet, but you'll see that for most of today, my blood sugar has been running right around 70 or lower. Okay, right around 70 or lower. And let's go ahead and let's take a look at another one of these parameters. Let's see. I want to pull up my Fit Index. And let's take a look. And so one of the benefits that we've been talking about, of course, is weight improvement. And you'll see there current weight is 177. If I go over here and look at my trends, and you'll see down at the bottom, we've been kind of straddling 180s, 190s as we got below 200, and 180s, 190s. And right in here, guys, if you remember, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago now, was when I did that first 96 hours. So we were doing 72, did it at 96 hours. And the reason I did that, if you see down at the bottom, my weight was kind of fluctuating between 180s, 188 up to 190s, 195s. And so I wanted to give a bigger boost. And so I did that 96 hours and noticed that my baseline actually is now improved, right? So 180s down to 170s. So now we're straddling between 170s and 185 is where, and so that is in keeping with where I am shooting for, right? So 175, 180. The other thing that we're looking at, if you remember, these are some of the parameters that I am working with. And so my goal is to get all of these metabolic parameters, these metabolic indicators, into the green. And so we started out with several of them that were red or gray. And as we've worked with the fasting process, not only has the blood sugar improved, not only has the A1C improved, and you kind of saw the trend of that when we did our show on Monday. Go back and take a look at that. But the weight has improved, right? So our weight used to be above 200, and you say 200, that's in the red. And we're in the amber color now, and 177 is where we are. The BMI, right? So we're shooting for a BMI of 25. And so the BMI used to be up there in the 30, in the reds, 30s. We're in the amber right now. And so we're about maybe 3.5 pounds away from BMI being where it needs to be. Body fat, right? So body fat was in the red, and so we're kind of moving closer and closer and closer. We'll share with you one of my goals in terms of body fat. We'll do that when we'll probably do a different show on that. And then, of course, subcutaneous tissue, subcutaneous fat. We're in the amber right now, we're in the red, and so we've got to get down to about 16.7 in order to get that in the green. And so as we talk about those trends, right, not just blood sugar, but there are some other metabolic things that I want to do, and you'll see that there on the screen. And that is in keeping with what we're talking about in terms of how fasting works. Okay? All right. So having said that, let me hop over and let's take a look and see what my ketones are. All right, so let me go ahead and get my keto meter turned on. And let's go ahead and let's pull. This is our Keto Mojo app, which will come up there in just a minute, and you'll see it'll start to say syncing in just a little bit, syncing in progress. It will go out and grab the meter and it'll pull, and my blood sugar was 56, and the ketones were 4.1. Remember when we talk about ketones, ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 is considered therapeutic nutritional ketosis. And then above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis. And then, of course, right there, you'll see mine is 4.1. If I look at the graph, you'll see as I started eating, to the left that graph, the turquoise line is that's ketones, and then the tan line, that's blood sugar. So as I started eating, the blood sugar rose and the ketones drop. And then as I started fasting again, you'll see the ketones going up and blood sugar going down to where we have right now. And that's the beauty. That's one of the benefits, right, is that transition from burning carbs to burning fat. One of the benefits of fasting is that we are able to move like a hybrid car that normally burns gas and electricity from a battery. Our body burns carbohydrates and ketones. And so when we are fasting, we're decreasing the carbohydrate because the body is using that up. And then now we have to switch over to fat, and we're burning fat. We convert that to ketones, and we use ketones for energy. And in the process of doing that, then we get the weight loss that we see the improved insulin resistance, the autophagy that we talked about, improvement in our metabolic health. And remember, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, polycystic ovarian syndrome, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, obesity, and and on and on and on and on, right? So all those things improve as a result of improving our metabolic health, and those get better as we fast. So the question, which is better? Shorter fasts or longer fasts? And the answer really is it depends. I know you're expecting something else, right? So it depends. I like shorter fasts because they're easier, they're simpler to do. And so if you are having difficulty getting into a longer fast, any fasting that you do is better than none. So if you are having some challenges getting through a fast, getting into a longer fast, I would much rather you begin fasting where you are and work your way up. If you are just really trying to improve your metabolic health generally, there aren't some significant things that you've got to do, a shorter fast may be good for you. But if you are diabetic, if you have significant metabolic disease, if you have significant weight that you need to lose, if you have a history of heart disease and you've had a heart attack or a stroke, if you are suffering from significant high blood pressure or high cholesterol, you're on multiple medications, then in order for us to get you where you need to be quickly and expeditiously, I guess that's the same word, then a longer fast will help. It's probably better. I do an extended fast because I wanted to get off of a lot of the medications I was on. I had weight that I needed to get off, right? And so I am probably going to scale back on the fasting, not right now. So people have asked me, well, what is the ultimate goal, right? What is the goal for you long term? And we'll talk about that as we get further into the year and as we prepare for, okay, what is the long game? Okay. So you may need to do extended fasts at the beginning, and then you may be able to back off again as you improve your metabolic health and as you achieve some of those goals. Remember, fasting is a tool, and we use the tool as we need it. For example, let's say that you have been fasting and everything is good, and you go on vacation, or it's your birthday, or it's the holidays, and you have put on some weight. Guess what? When you come out of that holiday, you can pick fasting up as a tool to say, hey, I've put on 5 pounds, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds, 9, 10 pounds. So I want to get those off. So let me go ahead and I'm going to start fasting, and I'm going to do an extended fast. I'm going to get off some of this weight. I'm going to improve my blood sugar. My cholesterol levels are higher, so I'm going to improve those. And now that I've done that over the next 3-4 weeks, and I've used that, I can now back off and go to shorter fasts. So remember, it's a tool, and it's never a one size fits all. It's always you can do combinations. It is a tool that you can drop into your tool bag, your toolbox, and use as needed. All right? I love that. Love that. Okay. Let's see. What else? Well, so let's talk a little bit, y'all, about what we do here on the channel. And first, I want to talk a little bit about this idea of unlimited. So the unlimited concept, and you'll see I've got my unlimited t-shirt, and it says educate, empower, and encourage. Often when we think about our health, particularly if we've had some significant health challenges or we've had some complications, we think back and we're like, oh my goodness, look at what I did to myself. Or, oh my goodness, look at my health right now. It is unsalvageable. Or, oh my goodness, this will never work to improve my health. And I want to convince you that your ability to improve is unlimited. Your ability to make change is unlimited. Your ability to see beyond where you are, to go beyond what you expected, to go beyond what you even may think or dream is unlimited, because you have the ability to educate, you have the ability to become empowered, and you have encouragement. So unlimited. So I want you to stop thinking in small terms. We're reversing our diabetes. We're getting off of diabetes medications. We are dropping our weight significantly. There are people who are off of their pumps. They don't take any more insulin. They don't take any more medication. Their weight for the first time in years is below 200. I'll tell you, for me, it has been years since my weight has been below 200. That's amazing to me. Right? And to be down, what was it a little while ago? 177 pounds? What? When I got married, how many years ago? 30 plus years ago. I was 165 pounds. Yeah, that's 168 maybe. So for over 30 plus years, my weight has been above 200. So for the first time in that time, my weight is below 100. I think it was Teresa or Jennifer who calls that Wonderland. And I said, what is Wonderland? They said, well, that's when your weight is in the 100, when the weight starts with 100. So I'm in Wonderland. And you can be there too. Unlimited ability, unlimited potential. Fasting is free. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to change. You have to go get any special kind of food. It is free. It's unlimited. If you want to push it further, then fast longer. Unlimited. The potential, the ability to be able to make changes, unlimited. And as a part of this unlimited, what is the platform? What is the basis for that? That's the triple E formula for success. That is, we educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows that we do, with the podcasts, with the blogs. All of that is with the intention of education. We empower with the tools that we learn. We just learned a tool a little while ago, right? So how do we assess? How do we assess short or long fasting? How do we deal with our emotions? Remember, emotional intelligence. What were the 5 whys? Those were all tools that we're using to be able to put into practice the things that we're doing in order to improve our health, our metabolic disease. And then we encourage. And the encouragement comes from the community. And you see us interacting here a little while ago with Jennifer and Steve and all those who may be out there watching right now. If you're watching and you haven't said hello, that's okay. But drop us a note, drop us a line saying hello. Let us know that you're out there and how you're doing. If you've been fasting, go ahead and drop that in the comments because we'd love to know. If you are having a challenge, drop that in the comments. One of my challenges over the last several weeks has been to maintain hydration. I've mentioned that to you guys before. All right. So it is not always everything just works the way you intended it. And being in the community allows us to know that we are here to support each other. And then the HEAT model. The HEAT model says that the things that push us off of our plan, the food triggers are habits, emotions, access, and taste. The habits that we formed, the times when we eat just because it's that time. We go to the movies and we eat popcorn. We sit down at home to hang out with our family and we begin eating even though we're not hungry. Right? Friends come over and what do? We feed them. Why? Because that's just what we do. It's a habit. Emotions, right? So the happiness, the sadness, the depression, the boredom, the fatigue, all of those things will push us to eat. And the important thing about emotions is that if you've made a decision, if the emotion comes strong enough, then you will forget that decision and you will do the thing that you said you weren't going to do. Right? So we'll talk a little bit about that at another time. More about that at another time. And then access, having things around you that you don't intend to eat, right? Just having them there, right? You walk by your coworker's desk and they've got some candy. You go by the pantry and you put your head in the pantry and you grab something. Why? Because it's there, not because you're hungry. If it wasn't there, you wouldn't have eaten it. And then taste. We're never chasing food. We're always chasing what the food did for us. So taste, right? The perfect combination of sugar, of salt, and of fat. The manufacturers, when they make the food, that's what they're looking for, that bliss point. The place where you eat the food and you say, oh, I can't just have one, I got to have some more. So we eat. Those are the food triggers. That's the HEAT model. And then our call to action. Our call to action is this. Number 1, join the challenges. Hey, come on, let's get to the challenges. And the challenges, we do a challenge every month. So remember that that's what we've been doing. Join the challenges. Don't just let these be something on the shelf. You can be a part of it. Find a show. Go back and look at the challenge. In January, we said, hey, figure out your why. Why are you doing the things you're doing? Why do you want to be healthy? Why are you interested in being here, right? Number 2, in February, it was to begin fasting. Work your way up to fasting 24 hours period for a 24-hour period, just like we were talking about today. In March, right, which of the triggers was yours? I'll tell you, mine is emotions, access, and taste. That's why I eat, right? So I've got 3 of them. I got a triple threat. In the month of April, it was to create a meal that met these parameters. Not a lot of processing, decreased added sugars or no added sugars, starchy and non-starchy vegetables, healthy fats, lean protein, tasty, and that had the appropriate portion size. In the month of May, it was to find someone to mentor, somebody to teach, somebody to bring along with you in the new year, new you process. New year, new you. New year, new us. New year, new channel. New year, new you, right? Find someone and begin teaching them and bringing them along with you. And then for this month, our challenge is to make sure that you are getting your lab work checked. If you've not done that, if you've not been to the doctor, if you've not had them done, make sure you do that. Go back and watch our show that we did this past week that talked about labs that you should get done. Right? So that's our challenge. So join the challenges. Number 2, tell your story. So when you show up, right, tell your story. Let us know where you are, how you're doing, what's going on in your life as you're moving through the new year, new you process. And then invite someone to the show. Invite someone to the community. This goes back to the mentoring. Send them a link. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now that are diabetic or pre-diabetic. You can be a voice of change. You can be a voice to improve your health, improve your family structure, improve the health of your family. A lot of people have families where multiple people have died from complications from diabetes, from heart disease, from strokes, and so on and so forth. Lots of morbidity. And you can be a place where you can say, hey, no, we are not going out like that. We are going to get healthy, and we're going to be better. Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, as I always say, I'm happy to be here with you. Always glad to spend some time to be able to hang out and say hello. So right now we are 71 hours, over 71 hours in terms of our fasting. Going to be 72 hours here in just 30 minutes. And I am actually this is an extended fast, so we're actually going beyond 72 hours. So we'll come back tomorrow and do another check-in. As always, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the show, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. We'll see you tomorrow at our check-in, and then we'll see you again on Friday, and then on Monday at 7 p.m. Central, right here on our show. Good night, everybody. Have a good one.